A night of dancing turned into a day of death for 87 people at an illegal Bronx social club. Investigators believe that fire was intentionally set, and a suspect is in custody at this hour.
Definitely one of the worst tragedies in our city's history. Up until 9/11, it was one of the worst mass murders in our nation's history. This film will tell the stories behind the sensationalized headlines. It'll deal with all of the different elements that are at the heart of this horrific turn of events. Immigration, poverty, domestic violence, fire safety, invisible cultures within our society. I mean, definitely a Bronx tale of a whole different kind.
So the movie Fuego is many things. First and foremost, it is I guess by all means, a tragic love story. Here we have two people, Lydia Feliciano and Julio Gonzalez, who were, for all accounts, were a couple.
I actually lived a few blocks away from the club. That night, I remember sleeping and awaking to the sound of fire engines. It wasn't until the next morning I realized the magnitude of what had happened.
They had a volatile relationship, and Lydia, like so many women, got tired of it and asked him to leave. And then you have, Julio, who, Lydia, I guess, for the most part, was was a big part of his life, and he wanted her back.
They got into an argument. Apparently, he wanted to get back with her, and she did not want to get back with him. So, upon being upset, he exited the Happy Land Social Club. I think actually a bouncer kicked him out. And he walked to a nearest gas station, bought $1 worth of gasoline, which is about, I think, a gallon at the time, and came back to the Happy Land Social Club, set fire to the only exit of the Happy Land Social Club, and 87 people died in the fire. I think about 4 or 5 people escaped.
I started out my law career working for the Legal Aid Society in Bronx County, and I picked Bronx County because I felt like I wanted to be on the front lines, and this was where the crime was. One of the precincts was called Fort Apache, and the image of Fort Apache was that there were these police that were sort of in this fortress surrounded by fires and hostile gunshots and all that.
This is the only place the old folks can go without getting mugged. It's the same with the mothers and the kids. You see, this isn't a police station, Captain. It's a fort in hostile territory. You understand?
Fort Apache.
And then, over the first few years that I was in practice, the crime rate in that precinct kept going down and down and down, and the reason was because so much of the area was literally burned off. The population was going down because there were so few habitable buildings.
The Bronx was already burning. Look at the 70s. You had crime, poverty, building after building burned down by the landlords for insurance money.
Fast forward to 1990 and the events of March 25th. This time the arson wouldn't be for money, it would be one man's crime of passion. And 87 people paid a terrible price. The idea to do this film was born out of a conversation with my wife, Tahis, who incidentally is my co-executive producer.
We just got into the topic when he started telling me, oh, you remember that Happy Land social club fire? And I said, well, no, I've never heard of that.
To my surprise, she had never heard of it because she's not from the Bronx originally. So
he went in to tell me, that on March 25th in 1990, a Cuban immigrant by the name of Julio Gonzalez set fire to a social club.
At the end of it, she was just speechless.
I just got very intrigued. And I just said to him, I was like, are you sure that there's not something done on this?
Next thing I know, she's trying to convince me to do a feature-length film based on the Happy Land incident. Now, I couldn't think of a single reason why not, except for the fact that I didn't have the money. But that didn't stop her. Somehow she wound up still convincing me to do it, and here we are.
He went from obscurity to infamy in an act of rage. Gonzalez allegedly torched the Happy Land Social Club in the Bronx early yesterday after arguing with his ex-girlfriend there.
Lidia, ya te dije que no puedo vivir sin ti. I want to come back home.
Fuego is a documentary with dramatic elements. We come up with this bright idea to do this incredible reenactment. I knew that if we were going to do it, we had to do it right. And doing it right takes money, it takes resources, and it takes a really good director of photography. And we couldn't find any of those. So we were stalled for several months, and then I meet Mike Ross.
I was aware of the Happy Land tragedy for a long time because it's one of those things that goes down in firefighting history. People learn about it. And when Jeff approached me to be involved in this documentary, I was very interested in doing so. It's a project that's has become a passion as much as a work for me too.
I meet Mike. He's not only a cinematographer and a photographer, but he happens to be a volunteer firefighter. Film is telling your story through images, and you have to know exactly where to put that camera in order to tell your story. And Mike was definitely instrumental in that.
What? You got somebody else? Huh?
No. I mean, yeah, this guy's interested in me, but
I know it. This is the problem. This place. Listen to me.
Finding Alex to play Julio Gonzalez was a stroke of luck. And finding Geneva to play Lydia was like lightning striking in the same place twice.
One of the things that I wanted, and I hope that I was able to do it, was Mr. Gonzalez was Cuban. I am not Cuban, and so I have to work a little bit on that accent. I went on the internet to hear a lot of the Cuban accent.
We went with Alex, first day of shooting, and he arrives on set. I didn't even recognize him. He had transformed himself. He was Julio Gonzalez.
I was familiar with the story, and the fact that it was a true story that I believe really needed to be told. I mean, it's been like 20 years and no one's really told this story. And so I felt compelled to audition for it. There really wasn't too much information on Lydia Feliciano. And so I just really researched what happened. You know, I saw a lot of pictures that were very graphic.
We had an incredible cast. I mean, from Anthony Rosas to Doug Robbs, who plays DJ, Ruben Valadares, just all great people to work with. Okay, now let me get you in place, Geneva. Let me just see.
There was a great writer who once said, "I hate writing, but I love having written." I feel that way about production.
It was a well-run operation. Yeah, we had our issues. We sometimes had to stick around waiting for access for premises, and we had the FD show up to one of our shoots when the smoke machine set off the fire alarm system.
There's a lot of things we have yet to do in post. We have some animation, we have sound, we have color correction, all yet to be done.
Okay, scene 10, shot 6, take 6, action. Fuego, the Happy Land tragedy isn't just a film about a fire. It's a film about the plight of a city in a period in which it was just about to hit rock bottom before picking itself back up.
There's just so many things that were going on in the 1990s in the Bronx, and you know, this tragedy brought people together.
It's compelling, shocking, explosive. It's got tears, it's got triumph.
You'll definitely be moved. You'll definitely be moved. Who better to tell the story on behalf of the victims who did not get a chance to tell their story than Jeff, you know, a Bronx native, a person who loves the Bronx, who loves people and who loves to tell a great story.
He did his research, he did his groundwork, he spoke to people, he learned about the technical aspects of the fire and exactly what happened and why it was such a bad situation. This was obviously a work of passion for Jeff, and he's done a good job of telling the story.